Hi, I'm Karen. Welcome to my channel. Today, I want to tell you about some decks that I never thought I'd buy, but I did. I have 5 decks to show you, so let's get started. The first deck I never thought I would buy is a black and white deck. Color means a lot to me. It makes or breaks the appeal of a deck for me. And also I use the color in my readings a lot of times. So I never really thought that a black and white deck would appeal to me. Then I was getting ready to start a shadow work deck study. I didn't really like any of the recommended shadow work decks, so I was looking around reading what other people were using for shadow work decks. And someone mentioned Tarot of the Abyss. I love Anna Torian's artwork, and so I thought, well, I'll give it a try. You know, maybe it'll work as a shadow work deck, even though it is a black and white deck. Well, this deck did not work for me as a shadow work deck. It has a gentle, poignant, even romantic feel to it. And while I did fall for the deck, it was not as a shadow work deck. The lesson that it's taught me is I can work with the black and white deck if it's the right deck. And this one is. Anna Torian, even in black and white, uses such beautiful shading. And it's actually not black and white. It's kind of an off-white and black, but there's so much gradient, so much depth, and just beautiful, beautiful pictures. So this is the first one that taught me a lesson about never saying never. Tarot of the Abyss by Anna Torian. The second deck that I said I would never buy was another RWS. This deck, the Universal Weight, was the second deck I ever bought. I bought this deck because I wanted something that I could use as a study deck as I learned tarot. And I really didn't think I would ever use it for anything more than that, because the artwork in the RWS just does not appeal to me. But this one has been recolored with color pencil, and in the process a little bit of the edges were softened and the faces were softened and the animals don't look quite so scraggly. A lot of things were changed to soften them and make it more appealing, I think. So I was very happy with this as my RWS deck study deck. Even though it turned out to be more than that for me, I ended up really getting some great readings from this deck, and I still do. I use this one on occasion just because I want to, not just as a deck study. But then, speaking of deck studies, earlier this year, Lisa Pepez was doing a deep dive into the RWS, and I absolutely wanted to participate in that because I did want to learn a lot more about the symbolism and the different meanings hidden within the cards, and that's what she was going to focus on. Well, as she was preparing us for the study, she talked about how this deck had made a few changes within a few of the images in the process of recoloring it. And at first I thought, well, that's okay. I don't mind that. I'll just ignore those when we get to that part of the study. If it's a symbol that has a little bit of change, or the coloration has changed some of the meaning of what's going on in the card. But then the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, for this deck study, it's a deep dive. I want something that's as close to the original as I could get. So I bought another RWS deck. I got the original Tarot by DeBry. And you can kind of see here the colors are different. And as I said, color does make a lot of difference sometimes in the interpretation. So that mattered to me. And you can kind of see a little bit of shift in just the shadowing makes a difference in the look of the card. Here's a big difference. That's nothing that changes the real meaning of the card, but if you're doing a deep dive study, I felt like I just needed something that was truer to the original coloring and line work that Pixie had intended. Just a little bit of shading in the faces makes such a difference in the expressions, I felt. And I'm glad I did buy this one, the original tarot, for the study. But for my own personal collection as an RWS, I'm going to hang on to my universal weight because I do enjoy it as a deck. And after the deep dive study, I don't feel like those minor differences are going to bother me at all. I don't think I'm going to be hanging on to the original Debray, though. I feel like I don't need 2 RWSs, even though I do have 2 right now in my collection. I'm not going to be quick to get rid of it, but I may rehome it if the right opportunity comes up. We'll see. Okay, the third deck that I never thought I would have in my collection is a crystal deck. And it was not because I didn't want a crystal deck. I did. I started using crystals for divination before I even discovered tarot. As a matter of fact, I discovered tarot by watching crystal YouTube videos. So as soon as I got into tarot, I started looking for a tarot or an oracle deck that was centered on crystals that I liked. And I could not find one. I could not find one anywhere. And then I saw Shanna D talk about this on her channel, and I knew as soon as I saw it, I had to check further. Had to look to see if this could be my crystal deck. And it is. This deck was created by Dina Rosenberg. In the introduction of the guidebook, she talks about how crystals were her first love. And that's still her first choice for divination. And it is for me too. I love tarot, but I use my crystals more than I use my tarot decks, honestly. So when I got this deck, I knew I was done looking for a crystal tarot deck. This one is perfect. I've done several videos on this, so I won't say a whole lot more about it. But I am so happy to have finally found the deck I never thought I would get. A crystal deck that I loved. The next deck I thought I'd never buy is not a type of deck. It is a specific deck. And that is the Lightseers Tarot. I love Chris Ann's artwork. I have talked about that many times on this channel. The Muse Tarot is arguably my favorite tarot deck of any deck. I have all of her other decks, but I didn't have this one. And I didn't plan on getting this one. And the reason is it felt too young for me. It felt like something that a tarot reader much younger and, I don't know, into things that are more modern than what I'm into. I don't know why, because a lot of this looks like my style, but just something about, I don't know, like maybe it was the colors. Maybe it was just a lot of the, I love this deck now. And I don't know why I resisted it for so long. Some of the ones with all these colors, and I don't know. Something about it just made me think it wasn't for me. And I love this death card. See, now I love the deck. So I found out how wrong I was making assumptions about a deck. First impressions are not always right. Now see, this one, they remind me almost a little to Burning Man, festival season, Coachella, something like that. I don't know. But it's not that I have anything against those things, and while it does lean young, I've found that, I love that Seven of Swords too. I've found that even a 63-year-old woman who doesn't try to be younger than she is can still love this deck. And I do. Oh, that's such a sweet Six of Cups. It's going to make me cry. We just lost one of my dogs last week, and he was ready to go. He passed peacefully in his sleep, but he looked a lot like that as a puppy and as a grown dog. This is the first time I've seen that card since he passed. So, yeah, this one's one that made me feel like maybe it wasn't, but I love her. She's amazing. And the Queen of Pentacles in this deck is my favorite of all Queen of Pentacles. So there's that. But I didn't know that before I got the deck. Before I got the deck, I thought it was too young for me. But I no longer feel that way. So never say never. Another lesson learned. Then the last deck I want to talk about that I thought I would never buy is a pop culture deck. I had absolutely no interest in a deck that was based on a TV series or a movie or a set of characters, a video game, nothing like that. None of that interested me. I didn't want that in my tarot. But then I saw this. Todd Alcott's Horror Tarot. And I think the reason that I instantly wanted this deck is because it doesn't focus on one pop culture movie or TV series or book. It's based on movie posters, books, comics from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And I think it is so amazing. It looks like a movie poster from that time period, or a TV icon from that period, or a comic book. And the box, even the box. I had a lot of paperback books when I was in my teens, and the edges all look like this. And I read tons of Stephen King and Dinar Kuntz, and all of my books look like this. So I think that's why this one grabbed my attention. It's not those particular writers, and it's not a particular movie. It's just horror from that time period. And I am here for it. I love it. Todd Alcott's Horror Tarot. I think there's another deck that's called Horror Tarot, but this is Todd Alcott's Horror Tarot. Okay, that's it. That is my 5 decks that I never thought I'd buy, but that I'm very happy to have in my collection now. Lesson learned, never say never. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please come back and see me again. Bye for now.